What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode here on the Got Baseball Cards channel. Today, I am going to have some fun. We just had in our shop last week an incredible collection come in where the consigner needed assistance with getting his cards graded and resold. And we're going to handle the entire process as we often do. But I want you to have just a taste of the experience I had when this collection came in the door. All right, so here is the notebook. This collection came in the doors here at Got Baseball Cards in Loganville, Georgia, just last week. And usually you see an odd-looking notebook and you say, it's probably going to be a set of 1988 Donruss. But in this case, it was not. It was a little bit older than that. So I have pulled only a handful of some of the most iconic, most important cards out of the notebook because I did that with this collector, this consigner, as he right after he came in, we started looking through the notebook. But I'm going to flip some pages for you. Now, I'll tell you ahead of time, this notebook has a mix of the iconic sets, cards from these iconic sets, T205, T206, T209, and T210. And, of course, the T210 set is the one with the Joe Jackson rookie card in it. Which, no, it's not in here, but that's these red bordered cards. The T205s, of course, are the gold bordered cards. The T209s, which you rarely see, are these here that say Cantanina back, Cantanina cigarettes. And those were only released in like the Southeast and the Carolinas area. And if I remember what I was told on these, I remember there's only, I think, 16 different players in that set, but they all bring pretty good money when they're graded, even though there's no superstars in that set. But just check some of these beauties out. The majority of the notebook was T206, which is, of course, called the Monster, the massive 500-plus card set. And no, there were no Hannes Wagners in it. This notebook came in literally this way, with some of them are double sleeved with multiple cards. So I had the joy of double checking, hoping there was a Hannes Wagner in there. There was not. There was also no Ty Cobbs, but there are plenty of Hall of Famers, some of which are still here in the notebooks. And no matter how many years I do this, I never get over the thrill of looking at a new collection of old cards. Some of these are, check this one out. Really clean for a T206 card. Now, these are all Piedmont backs, which is, of course, that and the Sweet Caporal are the most common backs. But we will be grading a huge percentage of these because even in low grade, these are very desirable, very sought after. And again, I realized after this consigner said he was just going to leave the whole notebook with us, I stopped pulling cards, and I said, well, then I want to show that to some of our viewers. Like, this entire page is still untouched the way it came in. Don't you love the colors here? Just incredible colors. So, here's a Rube Marquard, of course, Hall of Fame. Haven't pulled that one yet. But again, just love the vivid color here. Love the vivid color. That one's even flipped here in the notebook. Again, this page is still untouched. But they will be touched very soon because we're going to be sending these off for grading. And there are just so many. If I remember the count, there was about 250 plus cards. And so cannot wait to be sending these off. Now, here's one you don't see very often. Horizontal backs. Horizontal fronts. There are not a lot of horizontal fronts in the T206 set. So those often bring a premium, of course, depending on condition. Now, some of these, as you see, some of them, the backs are torn. Some of them, there's marking on the back. Sometimes there's initials. But depending on the player and the card, sometimes they're still worth having them slabbed and graded. Again, Just love the vivid color. I mean, you're talking about cards that are 115 years old here. 115-year-old cards because they were released from 2009 to 2011. So just an insane collection. Now this is not a T206. Off the top of my, I'm sorry. Yes, that one is. I thought this was a different design at the top. You can tell I'm not up on all my T206s because I haven't seen many collections like this in a while. I thought that was a different, but that is a T206. Sorry about that. Sorry to mislead you on that one. It's a very non-traditional background on that one. Love the color, love the imagery. Amazing when you think about, the printing technology, what it was then, and they were still able to capture these incredible colors on these cards. Here they stuck. How many are in here? Looks like let's just check this. But they put 4 different ones in here. Flanagan. 5 of them in one sleeve. So, unfortunately, that was not Cobb, or Wagner, or we would be changing the whole shape of the industry if they were that many Wagners. But no Hannes Wagners in here. But we will be sleeving these individually one at a time later today and selecting all of the ones that make sense for grading. And it's just shocking that literally someone had this many still in storage. I mean, these pages, this old heavy duty vinyl. This is like 1980s era pages. So this was done a long time ago. Now the back here, these are newer Ultra Pro pages that were done later. So you can tell by the type of page they use. So work was done on this collection at least at 2 different times, unless they just had a lot of old pages laying around and then coupled that with some newer pages. I had put a couple of notes. There's a couple of notes we've made on here. Of course, the backs, there's variants on the backs. There's backs even on the Piedmonts. There's the 150 back variation, the 150 subjects variation. There's the 350 subjects variation. And then there's the 350 to 460 subjects. So a lot of these, I always jokingly say, when were the first parallels made? They were made in the 1909 to 1911 set, because there are variant backs in this. There's many others, and of course, if you're not familiar with them, the backs were dependent upon the cigarette manufacturer. That was their advertisement. So there's many different backs possible on most of these players, but this is one of the most common, the Piedmonts. So most of these names I'm flipping through, you're not going to, if you're an aficionado of the T206 set, you will know them well. But for most avid collectors, you're not going to know these. But some of the ones I'm going to call out shortly, you will know. Now, I have a note here on the page coming up in the back. SL is for a Southern Leaguer. Here's Walsh. That is a Hall of Famer. Not one of the best known. And Walcott up here. And we've got a Southern Leaguer here. And again, we've got another T210 here. I'll never forget an experience one time. I was asked to travel to South Georgia to look at a collection of T210s. And it was an inherited collection through multiple generations, and they didn't know what they had. And I was eagerly hoping to find either a Casey Stengel or a Joe Jackson rookie card, which I did not, because the Joe Jackson is hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I was disappointed for myself and disappointed for the customer, but it was still an incredible collection, and I did buy it. All right, so may not show all of these, but here we go. How about, here's a name most of you will know. Every year there's the Cy Young Award for the most dominant pitcher in each league. Well, it started with this guy, Cy Young. And this, you'll notice here, looks like the same card, right? Looks like the same card, both beautiful, both classic Cy Youngs. Well, the backs are a little different. This one is factory 25. This one is factory 42. And that writing's on the sleeve, not on the card. This one is much rarer. The factory 42 variant is much rarer. But both of these will be slabbed. The factory 42, probably at least $5,000 or so, depending on the final grade. So, but all of these are, big dollars. There's no $50 cards in here on these Hall of Famers. Another Cy Young, also several $100s. And these are the ones that I pulled out of the notebook initially. Rube Marquard, Tinker. Anyone who remembers the famous phrase, Tinkers to Evers to Chance, it was a great double play combination. Well, here you go. This guy started them off. Joe Tinker. How about Tris Speaker, one of the greatest hitters in history? Tris Speaker, beautiful card. Hal Chase with New York. O'Hara. This one I once owned the variant on this, and I forgot the spelling, but there was a there was a team variant on this. And for you experts, you're going to know off the top of your head, and I can't recall which other team it was he was with, but there's one of the rarest cards in the history of the T206 set, which I did sell one many years ago, is a variant of this card. The New York variant is not the rare one. Wee Willie Keeler. Another classic T206 card. Sherry McGee. Now, this one is not the variant. There is a version of this spelled M-A-G-I-E. This is the more common M-A-G-E-E version. Delahanty with Louisville. Frank Chance with Chicago. For you Cubs fans, here's an old Cubs card for you. Another Hal Chase. Hooks Wiltsey. Schulte, and I can't remember his first name. Embarrassing myself here for my knowledge of some of these. Schulte. Mordecai Three Finger Brown. That was his nickname, Mordecai Three Finger Brown. And another Mordecai. Chief Bender, Hall of Fame. John McGraw. I believe he was in the first class of Hall of Famers, if I'm correct. Inducted in the 30s, along with Ruth and Cobb and others. Here's a name most will know if they know anything about baseball history, early baseball history. Christy Mathewson, one of the greatest pitchers in the history of the game. Christy Mathewson. And this collection gave you a couple of them. Even in this shape, that's a big card. This one absolutely is, and even in this condition. Some of these have been through the ringer, but if I live to be 115, I'll probably look rougher than these cards will. Hugh Jennings. Napoleon Lajoie. Very memorable name, Napoleon Lajoie. And here was the first huge card, and the others are just some commons I sleeved, but I left this one for last because this was the first big card I noticed. Then I said, oh boy, there's some good stuff in here. Walter Johnson. Another iconic early 1900s Hall of Fame pitcher. I think at the time, for a long time, he and Cy Young were the two, may still be. If I remember correctly, I think Johnson went over 400 games. If I correct, and I'm sure if I'm correct, and you can correct me in the comments below. If I remember, Cy Young won 511, and I think Johnson won 430, 436, something like that. So pretty insane when you think about the games, the state of baseball today. When someone wins 200 games, it's quite an accomplishment. These guys won way more. So I'll show off these last few here. Again, just love these colors, and to see this many. I wish I could say, oh, this happens every day or every week or every month or even every year, but it does not. So it is always exciting for me when someone brings in a huge collection of tobacco cards like this. So as our normal process is, we're going to help this individual. We're going to grade every card that financially makes sense for him to grade. We will then be listing those either through our eBay store, our website, trade shows, whatever we can do to help him maximize his return on these. And so if you are a follower on our social media, if you're not, you need to be, because we will be featuring a lot of these in the future as they come back from grading. And the big boys, the Walter Johnsons, the Cy Youngs, and so forth, the bigger names, those will be back pretty quickly because they will be headed out the door. As soon as I finish this video, these are being handed off to Mr. Doug Giles, and they're going to be headed out to PSA. A great majority of this notebook will be gone from our hands in the next 24 hours. And so I can't wait to see them come back. Cannot wait to see how they grade, and cannot wait to see the results that we produce for this consignor, because very excited. We're always very thankful for the opportunities to work with consignors, whether they walk in our door or whether you send them in from any parts of the globe. So hope you have enjoyed this brief overview of this incredible collection. And if you've got a collection like this, send it on in and we will help you out with it. So hope you liked the video. Hope you'll subscribe. Hope you'll be back for more great content from Jared and the team. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Hope you'll have a great day.